Hey guys, Lantern here again. Bringing you another game against Leyline of Sanctity, and how it didn't do anything to the deck. I mean, it hurts it. Don't get me wrong, it hurts it, but it didn't make it stumble all that much. Again, you got to be really lucky, and I'm thinking about adding a card to my sideboard just to make sure that I get the Lily, quote unquote, for that game. I'm looking at taking Leyline of Sanctity out. Funeral Charm is fantastic, I think. I'm just trying it in my sideboard because I don't actually know if I want to use it or not. Main deck, I probably don't want to use it main deck, but it's an instant discard option, which would be good against things like Burn. I might side it in. But neck. Let's see here. Necrogenic Mists. It's a 3-mana. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card from his or her hand. It doesn't target. That's the big thing, is it doesn't target. So against decks that side in Leyline of Sanctity, you can sort of side this in as Liliana number 5, 6, maybe even 7. So that way, and you side out like normal discard. So that way you have a non-targeting discard. That'll help out against Leyline of Sanctity. But for my testing, Leyline of Sanctity isn't the worst. I mean, as long as you get a Liliana out, you can still win. Just recently I played against a guy who was playing Storm. And first off, the combo matchup's amazing with this deck. But I was able to pretty easily win, even with the Leyline of Sanctity out game 2 through a couple smart plays. I think on my part really gave me the advantage. I knew he was not. He was very worried about his hand because he took a long time to decide whether or not he wanted to mulligan, which is usually a good call for this deck because it shows that. It shows that they've got an iffy hand, and you rip iffy hands apart. And I chose Probe because it's cycled. I didn't want him getting anything better. He's got 3 Empty the Wardens in his hand. It's not like he's going to be doing anything with those, getting mana ramp or something. So I chose the Probe. We do the discard again, and this time I chose to not go with the Thoughtseize right away, because I knew his hand had some crap in it. So I knew Inquisition was going to take whatever he drew if it was good, which was Probe, so I took that as well. And then I decided to go for the Raven's Charm right afterwards, because, well, I knew he had crap in his hand, and a lot of it I couldn't hit. Empty the Wardens I couldn't hit. Pyromancer's Swath I could hit, but meh. So I saved the Thoughtseize because I don't know, he might draw something that's more relevant. And it was a good call because he ends up drawing this Faithless Looting and basically cycles his hand. He gets 2 new cards, throws it in there, kicks out some of the older ones, which makes it easy for me to just go in and just be like, oh yeah, your new cards that you got aren't worth anything anymore. With the Thoughtseize. And yeah, I'm going to Thoughtseize with Rack here. And the cool thing about Rack, I do like Rack. I mean, I dig that at 1 card, Shrieking hits you for 3. But Rack hits you, can ping you over time, which does eventually add up, as you'll see in game 2. So, I mean, they got their advantages and their differences. It's not like they're the same card at all. But they're definitely good in the same deck together. You want to run 8. I mean, that's why the deck's called 8 Racks, is you got to run 8. But I take the Pyromancer's Swath because I think that'll make it way harder for him to combo off, if he does combo off. And I was going to hold the Rack until he actually empties the Wardens and empties his hand completely, which is why I'm holding it. But next turn I'll draw an Infernal Tutor, and I don't want to do that anymore. Again, Infernal Tutor, I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on Beseech the Queen yet. Either or, I mean, still works. And there you go, Raven's Crime doing work again, making him discard. I'm glad I went up to 4 Raven's Crimes. And over here, I mean, again, this Raven's Crimes is just going to keep him down to 2 and ping him for 1. Pinging him for 1 is not super amazing, but it adds up over time, especially when you're not really letting them play Magic the Gathering. And I'm waiting on a top deck that'll let me like discard 2 or something. Here I got the Infernal Tutor, so I've got to go ahead and play the Ensnaring Bridge here, and then play the second Ensnaring Bridge if I can, and Infernal Tutor next turn. This game's going to go long. I mean, we're both doing long games. He's got no way to storm off, really. He's just trying to use these fungal reaches to sort of like make the game go longer and then get a good chance of eventually storming for some amount. I mean, yeah, that's what he's doing right now. He's Faithless Looting. He's trying to take the advantage that I'm giving him by not ripping his hand apart right now and find something to do with his mana. Now, if that were him, I might have emptied the Wardens like a little earlier. Might have put Pyromancer's Swath out there, emptied the Wardens, and then went ahead and start smacking me down for a couple. Because I think empty the Wardens... Yeah, whenever... Oh, no, an instant or sorcery. Or, no, instant or sorcery source. Okay, so, yeah, never mind. That doesn't work the way I thought it would either. And 2 bridges in this matchup's not needed, really. He's got no ways to kill my bridges. But I needed to get the Infernal Tutor out. He's actually starting to get a good hand here, so I need to mess this up as quick as possible. And he was even, I think, thinking for a half a second that he might have had a good enough hand to start comboing off. Luckily, I got 4 lands out now, so I can Raven's Crime him, make that plan sort of go to shit. I guess he could ditch the Faithless Looting, which is what he does. And I play Infernal Tutor. I'm going to get a Lily. Because at this point, I need to make sure I have constant discard on this guy. I don't want him having any critical amount of good cards in his hand so he can go ahead and make some kind of better thing. I mean, you could probably still combo off here, even if it's only for a little bit. But it's depending on what he draws. But he draws, yeah, a Molten Slag Heap, which isn't worth it. He doesn't put the counters on. He forgets to put the counters on. People do that. They're in a rush to try to storm off. And they realize they're not going to... Especially when I got my Lily, you know? Like, it's like just telling them, you're not really going to get a chance to storm off in about a turn. Because I can draw... You know, I could draw, like... discard and make you discard things, and even if I draw a land, well, I'm just going to kill you with the land. And not only that, I'll start attacking with my Lava Claw Reaches. And just like I said, it got the land, had the Raven's Crime, you're down to 2 cards in hand, dude. This thing's going to start pinging you. There comes a Lily. I got no cards in hand. I don't care. So someone earlier was discussing Madness with Lily, and I think that's alright. I think you would need a more your discard self build as well, running things like maybe Faithless Looting or Necrogenic Mists in the main. But I'm not a big fan of Madness. Reason being is, well, unless you get Lily out, Lily's your only real way to discard your own spells. I mean, I suppose you can target yourself with your own discard, but that's counterintuitive. It's just better to rip it from the hand if you can, I think. That's all. I just think it's better to rip it from the hand. So here's the plus side of Lava Claw Reaches. At any point, if I don't have my Raven's Crime out, I can start Lava Claw Reaches-ing an attack. And then start to win the game through that and the rack. Lava Claw Reaches has been pretty good. I also got the other change in this deck is very small, but I've got 3 Rick's Maddie's Dungeon Palace, and it sort of counts as Liliana again. It's got Liliana's effect, Necrogenic Mist's effect. Each player discards a card. You can only play this as a sorcery. I mean, that second part blows, but just added gravy, man. I think it just adds the effect that, like, well, if you end up in a stall situation, you don't have your Raven's Crime. At least you can Rix, you know, to keep that discard up. Helps you with Hellbent. I guess it would help you with Madness too, but I'm still not a big fan of Madness. I still think there's enough colored sources in this deck that 3 Rick's Maddies, 3 colorless sources is not going to kill you. I would not add things like Mana, Mutavault or whatnot, even though it's easier than Lava Claw Reaches to do, because on top of Rick's Maddie, it's just not worth it. I mean, you have to cut the Rick's Maddie to put Mutavault in it, and I mean, with Ensnaring Bridge, I don't think it's the best idea. I think Rick's Maddie is a little bit better. I mean, there's also that one that for 5 mana does like 2 damage, 1 damage, something like that, from Innistrad. I think it's Stensia Blood Hall. But yeah, 5 mana does 2 damage to target player. I don't think that's worth it. I think I can count on the number of times on like my fingers that I've had enough mana to actually activate 6 mana of this. It's totally not worth it. Anyways, the next game is more interesting. That's the one that I wanted you to see. Because it's a longer game. It's definitely way longer. And I draw, and I don't think this guy's going to have a Leyline of Sanctity. That's just out of nowhere. But sometimes that's what they've got, man. And he puts a Leyline of Sanctity out turn 1. And I've got a pretty good starter. I've got 3 mana. I've got Raven's Crime. I've got Wrench Mind. I've got a pretty good mana curve, and I could really hurt him. But not to be, because of Leyline of Sanctity. And I should note that I sided out a couple, I sided out two Infernal Tutors and a bridge. 2 Infernal Tutors and 2 bridges to put in, what do you call it? I'm just having a brain fart here. Put in Surgical Extraction. Surgical Extraction, really awesome in this matchup. I didn't know he was going to have the Leyline. If I knew he had the Leyline, I'd probably take some discard out and put the bridges and the Infernal back in, so that way I can make sure I got a Lily. Now, I do draw my Lily, so that's good for me. He might have a way to kill it. That's probably true. And in fact, he draws the way to kill it right there. He's got a Grape Shot and Lightning Bolt. So he has access to kill my Lily. Which is good for him, because if Lily sticks out, then I'm still going to win this game, regardless of what he does. I'll just Lily him, not let him do anything for a long time, eventually sack his permanents, probably. Basically, eventually ultimate Lily until he's got nothing to do in his entire deck. And eventually I could mill him. I mean, that's an option in this deck. It's really sad and pathetic. But an option in this deck is to not let the opponent do anything and eventually let them mill themselves out. Really, really dumb, but it happens sometimes. And again, yeah, he's going to kill the Lily. He just drew the Lightning Bolt since he discarded one a while back. And I think he's gonna regret that decision. But whatever. So he's gonna go ahead and Grape Shot and Lily. I mean, it's the only thing he can do. If he doesn't, I will eventually win this game. But it does put him into some rack damage, which is good. So yeah, we're gonna drop down to 1 counter with Lily, and then he's gonna have to Grape Shot, and then the second one is gonna go towards me. What can you do, man? Not really a big deal. My life will matter eventually, but right now it doesn't. And I draw an extra rack piece, which is good, because now I'm going to hit him for 2. But I made a mistake there. I should have actually started discarding my hand right there. I do it next turn, just in case I draw the bridge, just to make sure that my bridge is online as soon as possible. And I do it here because I realize I've got nothing else to do. So, okay, yeah, Raven Crime myself, discarding like an Inquisition, and then I go ahead and I'm gonna wrench, or probably Raven's Crime myself again to, is that what I do? Yeah. And then I play Inquisition on myself. So it's not like a big deal. Just went ahead and just emptied my hand pretty quickly. I'm thinking, well, we're both in a stall situation, right? So I can go ahead and Lava Claw Reaches if I need to eventually. I'm going to keep the Thoughtseizes in my hand right now because at worst I can lose 2 life and get rid of it, but I'd rather find a different way to discard it. I don't like what he's doing. He's growing his stuff. And I get the Blightning. Again, I don't want to hurt myself, so I'm just going to hold on to it. Hopefully I'll find like a Wrench Mind or something and then get rid of it. I'd rather find a Liliana and then win with it, which I do here. Again, so Necrogenic Mists might be a good add in the side to fight against Leyline of Sanctity without actually dealing with Leyline of Sanctity. So yeah, and there's the Lily, and he discards a useless Leyline, which is the correct move. And I'm going to eventually discard this Thoughtseize. Because the cards in my hand don't matter anymore. I can't target them with it, so whatever. The only thing that matters is... And Surgical Extraction here is great, because it does not target. That's another big thing. Surgical Extraction does not target. It removes things out of the graveyard, kills some stuff in hand if it's there, and does not target. I'm going to hit Grape Shot right here. I don't know if he's got Grape Shot in hand, but I'd rather take out one of his win conditions. The other one that I want to hit eventually, if I can, is the what do you call it? I want to hit the Empty the Wardens. If I can do that, he's basically got no win conditions other than Pyromancer Swathing and Bolting for the win. And here we take a look at his deck. He's much more reliant on Pyromancer Swath online. He doesn't have Grave Recursion, I found out, which is fantastic for me. I'm looking at this for Game 3 at this point because I don't think we're going to go on after that. He's very reliant on Empty the Wardens to take me down. If he doesn't draw it, though, he doesn't draw it. But he's going to draw it this turn, which is good for him. And it makes for a very interesting match in a little bit. I'm going to keep going with the Lily. I have to keep going with the Lily. It's my only out. I know he's got Pyromancer Swath in his hand because of looking at the Surgical. I draw another Surgical. I hit Pyromancer Swath. Not because Pyromancer Swath is that big of a deal right now, but because I want to make him discard too. And I see he's got the Empty the Wardens, so I know what's going to happen next. He's got to Empty the Wardens here because he needs to kill my Liliana. That bit is huge. If my Liliana keeps going and he's only got a Lightning Bolt to stop it at this point, because he can't even, I mean, I guess he can Lava Spike it, which he has in there, but that's all he really has. So the important thing here is he needs to just go for it. He needs to get lucky and just go for it. He's got the mana, so why not? So he's going to take 2 life, draw an extra card, find the Desperate Ritual that he needs. He's looking pretty alright now. He's going to Metamorphose, give himself some mana, draw another card. Pyretic Ritual, perfect. He continues the ramp. But he's out of draw, so this is the end for him. But he's still going to get a crap ton of Wardens. Now, he plays Fungal Reach after this, too. I think because he thinks he has the win. But with some clever playing on my part, I can still pull this game out of, like, my asshole. He plays this Fungal Reaches in the hopes that he can, if he needs to, if the game goes long, buff it enough to make up for something and do another Empty the Wardens or something. Really, he should have held it in his hand. And he actually probably wouldn't have lost the game if he held it. So it's my turn here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm counting. I want to make sure that this guy did the correct amount of empty, because he stormed for 5, which was wrong. He did not storm for 5. But he stormed for 4 and then got an extra 2 goblins off the original spell. So he has 10 goblins right now. I draw a Blackleaf Cliffs, which is not what I need. Actually, come to think of it, I actually misplayed here a little bit, but it didn't cost me the game or anything. It's if he held Fungal Reaches, I would have held this Blackleaf to do exactly what I'm about to do. And I'm considering what I can do here. I can lower out his damage output by killing my Liliana of the Veil and sacking half his permanents. I can make him sack 1 and then lose my Lily, which is not what I want to do. I can make him discard if he had the Fungal Reaches, which is probably why he played the Fungal Reaches anyways, because he knew it was going to get discarded next turn with Lily. But I decided not to do that. The math pans out that there's no way I can let my Rack do the work for me and let his Goblin army survive. If I drew a bridge, I might do it, but I did not, so there's not that option is not there. What I end up doing is sacking my Lily and taking all his permanents. P.S. If you're ever playing on Cockatrice and someone tells you to separate, be like, dude, just pass it over. It makes the life easier. And what I'm considering here is taking his lands, like going pure land destruction on him, so there's no way he can play any spells. And then giving him his Goblin army. Because I figure, well, the Rack will take care of the rest. This is wrong. Because if I don't let him have the chance to play spells, his hand is going to start gaining up. And then I'm going to be up shit's creek. Because these guys won't do anything. The good move, guys, is to let them play spells. Sometimes you want them to play spells. Knowing full well you'll be able to deal with it later, but you want their hand to go down. That's one of the things I didn't like about Smallpox either in this deck list, was because sometimes I would kill their land, and then they wouldn't play spells for a while, and their hand would go up and up and up, and then I would be like, if I didn't play the Smallpox, I might have had a chance to win. So it's a little hard to tell. You definitely have to be a smart pilot in order to play this deck, because sometimes you got to pull wins out of nowhere. Now I'm realizing here that my Racks are the only way I can win, and I've got to race him. So that being said, I'm going to give him a hard choice. I'm going to say, you can have all your Goblins and beat me in 3 turns, because there's only 7 of them. I'm at 19. He's going to have to swing 3 times in order to actually do it, getting me a couple Rack effects. Or you can have your Leyline of Sanctity and win a long time from now with only 3 Goblins. And you get to keep your lands. I don't care. But killing that Leyline of Sanctity is big for me, because at this point, I can make you discard, and I can keep these Racks doing 6 damage, and I'll outrace you. You're at 16 life. I still have basically 3 turns, and you've got 3 upkeeps that this will kill you. And the cool thing is it kills you in the upkeep. You're not going to have a battle phase. So you're going to swing here, because he's got to. And I think he made the right decision. Basically, don't even give me the chance, give me the chance that I'm going to mess up. I mean, granted, I've got a Raven's Crime in the graveyard, so it might not happen. But I've got a Rise Fall here. And a Rise Fall is risky, because he might have drawn a land and just held it. And if he did, that by all means, that was the smart decision. But it turned out to be a Lava Spike, and that's gonna take him out. The side note is, if he swings all out again, I can also attack with my Lava Claw Reaches and lower him down enough for my Racks to still kill him. Lava Claw Reaches, man, it's a good card. So he draws an Empty the Wardens, and that's not gonna help him. He's done. The only chance he had was if it was a land. And what's going to happen is it's going to pass the turn, and I'm going to deal 4 to him because of the rack. Those racks, again, being able to kill with 1 card in hand is pretty cool. And yeah, I'm just explaining to this guy that leyline isn't the end of the world. I actually have not lost to a leyline of Sanctity yet. The couple times it's been played, I've managed to play through it. I am going to add Necrogenic Mists to my side, though. Leyline of Sanctity is good. I mean, sometimes it gives you random wins, but I really don't like the fact that I can't cast it later. And I think against most combos, and combos is really what you're going to need against leyline, or against this with Leyline of Sanctity. That's pretty much the only reason I think you'd run. That's the only reason you'd run Leyline of Sanctity, is because you throw it out there against a combo and say, "Fuck it, I can't get killed." But other than Storm, I can't really see any combos that really matter, and Necrogenic Mist seems way better against decks that can pack stuff, like you know, decks that can pack the Leyline of Sanctity against us, because it's way worse against us. And if I was going to play against Leyline of Sanctity, I'd probably, if I knew he had a Leyline of Sanctity, definitely, I'd cut out, I'd probably cut out some of this stuff. Rise, Fall, Thoughtseize. Keep the, what I would keep in is this: Snaring Bridge, Rack, Shrieking Affliction, all your mana, Liliana the Veil, and Infernal Tutor. These are the cards I would keep in. I'd also probably keep in Raven's Crime, just so that way I can cut down my own hand, should I need to, and turn on Infernal Tutor and Ensnaring Bridge. And you could cut Blightning, I guess you could cut Inquisition, or I'd probably cut Thoughtseize and Blightning before anything else, just because these guys can help you discard your own hand. And I'd side in the Necrogenic Mists and the Surgical Extractions, as they don't target. And probably even Funeral Charm I would take out from, like, Inquisition of Kozilek or something, because Funeral Charm, while targeting, is still instant removal should you need to. Give Swamp Walk to Lava Claw Reaches for a big Alpha Strike if you need to, or even just a small Alpha Strike if you need to. Because you could easily do Bridge, draw a card, be at two cards in hand, swing with it, and then give it Swamp Walk, especially if the opponent had Swamp, or if you manage to get Orbog off, and it's attack for that. And again, this is Magical Christmas Land. It's very rare going to happen. You're playing an uphill battle when you've got Leyline of Sanctity, but it's definitely not game over. And giving Swamp Walk with Funeral Charm will let you hit for 2. Surgical, again, doesn't target. You can go ahead and hit something with Necrogenic and then Surgical Extraction the rest of it out, and hopefully get something out of their hand. Maybe Pyroclasm if you're dealing with an aggro deck. I mean, again, the whole sideboard can basically come in over your discard if you have to. But again, if you have to, you don't want to. Should I not know if this guy's playing a Leyline of Sanctity, I probably wouldn't remove all that much removal, because I don't know if he's going to. I mean, just because he's got white does not mean it's a definite that he's going to play Leyline of Sanctity. Sometimes people who don't have white play Leyline of Sanctity, but I think Necrogenic Mists is going to go a huge way to stopping decks that play Leyline of Sanctity. I think you play Necrogenic Mists, and you go ahead and you play a Lily, or you start wrecking them with Ricks. You're basically saying, I'm going to discard 2 cards of hand, none of these are targeted. You probably only drawing 1 card of hand. Eventually, my Rack and Shrieking will take you out. which I don't like as a plan B. I still think that playing green, having the chance to kill it, will make your life a lot easier. But this isn't all that bad. It's not a bad choice. I have not lost to Leyline of Sanctity, and I think Necrogenic Mists in my side will make it much better. Anywho, thanks for checking this out. Again, this is Lantern. If you want to look more at 8-Rack, which really is a powerful deck, take a peek at 8-Rack. It's in the modern sub of MTG Salvation under deck creation. See you guys.